Hi, I'm Jen Lehman, co-founder of Property Elite, chartered surveyor and APC assessor. At Property Elite, we provide training and support for the APC, Asset RICS and FRICS qualifications. We cover all routes, pathways and geographic regions via our team of specialist consultants and trained assessors. This also includes the senior professional, specialist, academic and direct entry routes. In this week's podcast, we take a look at a flexible leasing case study at Kingland, Poole. It's essential listening for any candidates pursuing the commercial property, leasing and letting competency. It'll also be interesting reading for any candidates involved in redevelopment or regeneration schemes and investment or asset management. Kingland is a refurbished retail scheme in Poole, UK. It forms part of wider redevelopment proposals for Poole Town Centre by Legal and General Investment Management Real Assets. The overall plans include redevelopment of the Dolphin Shopping Centre, a renewed public realm, a local makers market for 15 traders and an annual calendar of over 500 community events. The regeneration plans aim to tackle the declining quality of Poole's town centre retail offer. This will be through reframing and repositioning the retail offer in line with Legal & General's wider retail strategy to deliver future-ready places and positive local social and economic impacts. Wider benefits of the redevelopment include increased local footfall, innovation and investment. This will support the future development plans for the neighbouring Dolphin Shopping Centre by Legal & General and support a growing trend for consumers to shop locally. So, Denz Ibrahim, Head of Retail and Futuring at LGIM Real Assets, stated that Kingland is a physical manifestation of what can happen when you offer deliberately ambitious, bold, creative, standout brands who are doing something a bit different, a platform to launch their ideas and share their stories. It will deliver a market-leading environment jam-packed with hand-picked brands, programmed events and content all sourced locally. It's a great example of our role as an editor of space, shaping environments to ensure we have the right content at the right time and in the right places. LGIM are looking at rolling out similar schemes across the UK to kickstart regeneration in other declining retail locations. Each scheme will be tailored to the specific local market and community, avoiding a cookie-cutter approach and limited longevity. So what does the scheme include? It's been refurbished to currently include 10 new units operated by entrepreneurs and startup businesses. These include Huck's Custom Surfboards and Cafe, Green Slade Fishmonger, Grounded Coffee and Fragrance run by an ex-Lush head buyer, Pen Gallery, Paint Shop Studio, 10 Foot Naked, Wild Roots, Restored Retro and Viper Gin. All 10 units have been let rent-free and rates-free for 2 years. This aims to encourage a creative community to become established following the announcement that non-essential retailers can reopen for business. It's based on LGIM's flexible partnerships leasing model with an initial focus on turnover rent options. This represents a move away from traditional long institutional leases to a flexible model that can be adapted to a range of tenants, including startups and established multinational retailers. The aim is to increase investor returns, whilst also working collaboratively with retailers to provide flexibility and increase local consumer engagement. This should help to rebalance risk and reward between the parties to the lease. LGIM categorise their leasing structure into 4 core categories. So number 1, flexi, 3 to 36 month leases of white box spaces on turnover only rents. These are aimed at startups and seasonal businesses. Operational, these are 3 to 5 year leases on turnover deals with more flexibility than traditional leases, for example with performance-linked break options. This is aimed at more established operators who are happy to share risk and reward with the landlord. Thirdly is flagship, and these are leases over 5 years for established operators who prefer traditional leasing terms and longer-term commitments. And finally, a flexi flagship. These are flexible leases over 5 years, appealing to leisure operators in particular, who tend to have high initial fit-out costs and require longer lead times to engage with customers. So, what are some of the issues that might be encountered within flexible leasing? So, here's a list. Number 1, how are repair liabilities allocated between the parties where lease lengths are short? This includes dilapidation liabilities and reinstatement obligations where a property has been fitted out by a tenant. Number 2, how are service charges apportioned and managed for short leases? Number 3, how are turnover deals structured? So, for example, what's included in turnover if a percentage of sales are online or click and collect? How is this information shared between the parties, and when is turnover rent paid? Number 4, how will tenant mix be maintained to encourage high footfall and collaborative retailing? 5, how can the landlord ensure sufficient security is held given the lack of covenant strength for startups? 6, how do flexible leases and startup covenants impact upon the investment value of a scheme? 7, is it better for a scheme to be open for trade via flexible leases and potentially at nil rents rather than remaining vacant? Number 8, what happens if a retailer decides to close before the expiry of the initial lease term? Number 9, what conditions apply to any break options agreed between the parties? Number 10, can a retailer afford or accept the risk of fitting out premises if the lease length is only short? Number 11, how do tenants deal with the risk of a landlord exercising a break option and their business continuity being affected? Number 12, what happens if a landlord seeks a higher rent at expiry for a contracted out lease, as tenants will not have the comfort of the renewal being dealt with within the provisions of security of tenure under the Landlord and Tenant Act 1954. In all cases, leases will need to comply with the RICS Professional Statement Code for Leasing Business Premises First Edition. The only exception is where leases are under 6 months. So, surveyors really do need to be aware of the risks and rewards of flexible leases and be able to incorporate this into their reasoned advice at level 3 to clients. This may mean advising a tenant of the benefits of a short, flexible lease or of the implications of not having security of tenure. On the other hand, landlord clients will need to be advised on the impact of a short, flexible lease on investment value and of how turnover deals should be structured to balance risk between the parties. That's it for today's podcast. Remember, you can book in your free 15-minute consultation via our website. We can also provide feedback on your referral or prelim review report. If you head to our website, you can also access our other free support resources, including our ebook guides, podcasts, videos, quizzes, blog, and CPD newsletter. We can't wait to work with you, so thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week.